Hi, this is Flash, your squatter hunter. Good evening. Welcome to Squatter Talk Live, Squatter Talk Tuesdays. Um, so today I am going to do my version of Never Have I Ever. I posted a short video today showing the support I had from LAPD in California. It was a North Hollywood case. The video is going to be coming out soon. It's the mother's son that relocated for the son to become an actor. Relocated, went through Airbnb. We like moved in with them, but I did a short little video just showing law enforcement and so if you want to check that out, it's just a little like a small little clip just showing how LAPD approached the door for me, telling them you're a squatter, get out, and that is the title of the video. Anyway, if you want to check that out, great. So I'm gonna get into like I said, it's a never have I ever kind of version. And it's a way for me to answer questions actually, and just I have a list of never have I ever questions that I'm going to talk about here. I was going to make a video and I decided to just do it as the live. Like always, I will address questions and comments at some point during this live as well. And if you want to participate in that and you're not a member yet, you can go on to the channel page and click, join this channel. It is different than subscribing. Subscribers I call supporters also, but this is a way for you to help support my efforts and in the cause and this channel. So anyway, and then there was something I was thinking about. I was watching a video. And I forget where it was. It may have been a TikTok video. And it was somebody, a comedian or somebody was talking about how they met somebody at a urinal. So it got me like a famous person. Like, have you ever met a famous person, like, in the bathroom? And how was it awkward or how did it go? And do you talk if you're standing next to somebody? Guys are going to understand this. You're standing next to somebody at a urinal and you're looking forward. Sometimes these urinals, like in like bars and some restaurants, it's like an actual trough. It's just this tub of water, basically, with running water, and you're just standing there next to somebody. There's no divider. There's nothing. So, there's this. You go up there, and the first time you've ever done that, it's very awkward and uncomfortable. Possibly, might not be for everyone, but if you meet somebody at a urinal, like a famous person, right? Like some people will be like, okay, if they meet a famous person on a sidewalk, they think, oh my gosh, like they're embarrassing, whatever, and maybe they have a hard time talking to them, maybe they're nervous. But what about when you meet them in a restroom setting? Do you talk to them? Do you just ignore them? Do you pretend you don't see them? Do you try not to make eye contact? Or do you make it obvious that you just literally peed next to your idol or whatever, whoever it may be? So anyway, it got me thinking about the times that I've actually met some famous people in a restroom setting. And then I started thinking about, growing up in California, in Southern California, I worked in the industry. I worked, I was a prop maker for a while. I was, there were different things I've done, and it put me in a position to meet a lot of, celebrity type people. And then, working as a handyman in the area, I had a lot of clients that were, famous people. So it started making me think about, like maybe I should talk about those meetings. Like, how did it go when I met this person, and talk about who they are, their personality, and how they came across to me. and maybe someone might find that interesting. So I thought, well, I've always said that the title Outside the Box with Flash, the reason why it's not called just Squatter Talk or Squatter Hunters or whatever is because I want to be able to talk about all topics that are important to me, that are my outside the box personality. And so I thought, well, why not? Why not talk about those things? I always treated everyone that I have met as just a regular person. And for a long time, I didn't want to ask for an autograph. I didn't want to ask for a picture. I didn't ask for a selfie or a, what do they call it now? An Ussie. I didn't. I heard that on a movie, so I'm using it. I didn't. And I thought that I was being respectful in treating them like regular people because I thought, like, I don't know. I just, it's how I felt. And unfortunately now I kind of regret that, because there are a lot of people that I've run across in my life that now I wish I would have had a photo with them. I wish I would have had, some, a picture, and this kind of got me thinking, recently I went back, somewhere that, I used to coach at for many years. And I was looking for, and I'll just say, I was looking for Reggie Smith. And I was asking, hey, is Reggie here? And the gentleman I was talking to was like, no, he's not here today. He's like, he's like going to be 80, like really soon. And it just got me thinking, like, oh my gosh, I've known Reggie for, oh man, 30 years. And I've never taken a picture with him. And I thought, you know what, I've got to reach out to him and take a picture with him and get him to sign it. I did. I took my dad to see him one day. And I took my dad to see him while my dad was battling cancer. And Reggie spent like, a good hour or so talking to him. Was really nice. Took a picture with him, and it absolutely just made my dad's day and made his life. So anyway, but it just got me thinking that, maybe I should have. And if you're contemplating that when you meet people, I suggest take pictures with them, get an autograph, do all the things that I didn't do and now regret. So, because I'm only going to be able to talk about a lot of these experiences, but I'm not actually going to be able to show video or pictures or, things like that. So some interesting conversations with people, but that's going to be, I'm going to start doing something like that. I think, if you think it'll be interesting to you, comment and let me know if that's something that you have interest for. Anyway, so I'm going to get into, Never Have I Ever. And let's see here. I'm going to start out. All right, so here we go. So never have I ever. So here we go. Now I created all these banners so that I'm going to see the topic when you see it. And then I'm going to talk about each one and explain why I have never. Okay. So here we go. First one is turned off utilities. So I'm going to say never have I ever turned off utilities on a squatter or a tenant. And the reason why I say I have never, ever turned off utilities is because when I turn off the utilities, I'm doing it under the guise of renovation purposes. I'm doing it under, to make it legal for me to do this. I'm not turning off utilities just to get to them to move. Now, obviously, with what I'm doing, you can read between the lines and see that, ultimately I would like them to move out. I would like them to move out voluntarily. But if I turn off the utilities, I'm turning it off not just as a, I'm going to flip off the power on them and whatever. I'm turning off utilities to, under the guise of remodel, things like that. And that is the only time it's legal for a homeowner to turn off utilities. For example, giving notice, putting notice on the door, telling them that, water and power or whatever is going to be turned off because maintenance is going to be being done or something like that. But I haven't actually, gone and just turn off utilities in situations where it's a tenant and they have tenant rights. Okay. So if it is a squatter and I'm going in there full force because they did not enter, they didn't have a lease and they did not enter legally, the rules are a little bit different, but never have I ever turned off utilities on a tenant. Okay. So, all right. Now, next one, exposed a non-paying tenant. Never have I ever exposed a non-paying tenant. Now, a non-paying tenant that is not paying rent because of financial reasons, because they lost their job, they will never be exposed by me. I will never expose someone. I will do everything I can to help them with resources, try to figure out. Now, I still try to figure out a vacate agreement, but I will never do a video and expose a non-paying tenant. Now, a tenant that stops paying rent because of a scam or because of fraud, I consider a squatter. Okay. So if they wrote a fraudulent check, for example, and they are not paying rent because of that, or it was something that was planned, they have a fake lease and are claiming tenant rights. If I can figure out a way or figure out that they have done this previously and there is a reason to give, make the public aware of what they're doing and, for awareness and safety, then under the First Amendment, freedom of the press, I'm going to expose them. But as far as exposing a non-paying tenant, a typical non-paying tenant that is not paying because of financial reasons, they are not the people that I'm exposing. Okay. Never have I ever possessed a firearm in a squatter or tenant case. Let's put it this way. Okay. So never have I ever. I have never possessed a firearm. Okay. When I have approached squatters or tenants alike, I have never taken a firearm on the property while I have been working as a squatter hunter. Okay. I did say in my very first video when I went up to the squatters for my mom's house, I did have a firearm with me. However, that firearm remained in a locked box in the car, unloaded, and it never actually came onto the scene while I was dealing with those squatters. So never have I ever possessed a firearm on any case whatsoever. Now, I have, and you've seen me with Byrna. A Byrna is not considered a firearm. It is it is powered by an air canister, and it shoots non-lethal plastic projectiles. So it is not considered a firearm, although it may look like a firearm in the video. Typically in the videos, I will say what, if you're going to see it in the video, I will say what it is. For TV, I will use an orange one. And for YouTube, I have the option to use orange or black. So anyway, never have I ever possessed a firearm as a squatter hunter. All right, now, evicted anyone. I can truly say that never have I ever evicted anyone as a squatter hunter or in my life. Okay. Now, I have never evicted anyone legally, or I have never evicted anyone illegally. I am not working in evictions. I am not involved in the eviction process. I simply, when I'm dealing with non-paying tenants, I am trying to work out and mediate a vacate agreement. I am asking them and trying to get them to vacate voluntarily. And at no point am I locking them out. At no point am I evicting them, going through the court process to do that. That's not what I'm doing. Have I recommended homeowners to evict them? Absolutely. I recommend homeowners dealing with non-paying tenants to always start the eviction process. But I personally, never have I ever evicted anyone, whether it's a wrongful eviction, a rightful eviction, or any kind of eviction. I'm not involved in that process, and I have never tried or have ever evicted anyone. All right. All right. Never have I ever threatened anyone. I have never threatened anyone with any kind of physical harm or anything like that. And you know, part of the reason I'm doing this is because of, people make up stuff. People want to say that they fear me or they fear what I do or something, and then they make up stuff. And so I just want to set the record straight. I don't believe any time in my life I have ever threatened anyone with physical harm. And this goes way back to even when I was younger and I got in a lot of fights. And I was like the professional new kid. We moved every time the rent was due, and I was in 12 elementary schools by 5th grade. Okay. So I got in a lot of fights. I was the new kid everywhere. And even when I was bouncing and training bouncers and traveling and cleaning up bars and during my roadhouse days, that I never ever physically threatened anyone. So I will never threaten a squatter. I will never threaten a tenant. They have nothing to be worried about as far as physical harm from me. That's not what I'm doing, and it's not what I'm about. All right. I have never have I ever locked out a tenant. I can honestly say I've never locked out a tenant. It's not part of the process. I have, however, locked out a squatter. I can lock out a squatter. If a squatter is a true squatter and they don't have tenant rights and I can become their squatter, I can lock them out. And depending on the situation, sometimes I have to give them a key and let them back in. But I have locked out squatters, but I have not. Never have I ever locked out a tenant. A tenant has tenant rights. Therefore, I cannot lock them out, just like a homeowner cannot lock them out. If they change the locks and we drill out the locks and we have to change the locks, I give them a key, just like a homeowner would have to. Okay. It is illegal for tenants to lock the doors. Now you have to check your state and make sure, but in states where it's illegal for them to lock the doors, a homeowner can get help from law enforcement to get the locks changed, but then you have to give your tenant a key again. Okay. So never have I ever locked out a tenant. All right, here we go. This one, recommended taking the law into your own hands. So a lot of people think, okay, I will say that. Never have I ever recommended taking the law into your own hands. I've had people say or think that from my first video, how I removed squatters in less than a day, that I was telling people to do this. But the truth is, I've never recommended that. I was simply saying, this is how I got my squatters out in less than a day. I have never recommended anyone to take the law into your own hands. I have started a service if you want to allow me to help you. I do videos to educate you and to help you. But I try to finish every live, and I try to finish so many videos and news interviews and things with saying that it is property, it's not worth your life, and I don't recommend you go and deal with your intruders. I recommend that you call law enforcement, let them make sure that it's safe, and then I always say, but once you're told there's nothing they can do, it's a civil matter, then contact me. But I have never have I ever recommended taking the law into your own hands. All right. Physically harmed a squatter. I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but never have I ever physically harmed a squatter. I have never done anything. I have never placed hands, weapon, or anything on a squatter. I have never been in a position to have to use pepper spray. I've never had to use any kind of physical harm or any restraint to a squatter. Knock on wood right now. As of now, that has not happened. I always meet with law enforcement. I get law enforcement support. I have law enforcement on scene. I have backup so that I do not get myself put in a position to where it's even a possibility that I would have to physically harm somebody or a squatter or a tenant or anybody. It's all about safety, and preparation and communication is key. So never have I ever physically harmed a squatter. Broken my word to a squatter or tenant. This is the last one of today's game. Broken my word. Never have I ever broken my word to a squatter or a tenant. Now, what I mean by that is, well, if I tell somebody, hey, if you vacate this property, I won't expose you. Or I say, if you vacate this property and I share this story, I may blur your face, or I may not show your full name, or whatever it is. I have never broken my word to a squatter or a tenant. So rest assured that if I tell you something, I'm going to stick to it. Now, if I tell you that I am going to expose you, then absolutely you can count on it. Watch your YouTube, because I will be exposing you. But typically, I am trying to work out a deal with you to get a home back, to get a home back to a homeowner. And if I work out something with you and I talk to you and I give you my word about something, you can absolutely know that I'm going to stand by it, because never have I ever broken my word to a tenant or squatter. So this was just, this was my version of never have I ever, just so I could kind of make some things clear, some points clear. And, I hope, you enjoy this video, and I hope that, you enjoy what I bring to you through YouTube. And hopefully I'll be able to, bring more to you. And I'm working on some new videos to come out. Check out my the short video I did today. You'll see law enforcement approaching a door for me, and kind of getting the message across to a squatter, non-paying Airbnb tenant that we did remove. And it was one that I actually did a live inside the living room while we were living with them. So that video will be coming out soon, along with others. Please stay tuned. Subscribe and support my channel and what I'm doing. I appreciate, I appreciate you guys tuning in on Tuesdays. And if you joined late, this will repeat if you just stay tuned, and the video, it will become a video as well for those of you who missed the live. But I try to come on every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time for Squatter Talk Tuesdays. And, and basically, that's what I got going on for tonight. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have Malibu Hobo here, says, well said. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. The Malibu Hobo is one of my regulars coming back, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. And, I just have to end it with, be safe. When I'm on my iPad and I put my thumb up, it does that. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of your families. Take care of your properties. Be proactive, and protect your properties. Cameras, just like insurance. Cameras are an insurance. Alarm. Some of these things you can set up when you have a vacant property, when you're waiting for tenants, and then you can just take them down when the tenants move in, or you can move them to the common areas where you're legally allowed to keep them. But put cameras inside and out. Put cameras inside so you see somebody coming in the door, and put cameras outside so you see them, how they break in the door, things like that. But so take care of your home just like you take care of your family, and you won't have a need for me or the police, and or at least to get a squatter out. Don't approach your intruders yourself. It's property. It's not worth risking your life. Call law enforcement. Let them make sure that it's safe. The way the laws are, the one thing that law enforcement can help you with is safety, making sure that the scene is safe, your family's safe, you are safe, your home is safe, and assess the situation. Use them for that. But if they tell you it's a civil matter, there's nothing we can do. At that point, you can reach out to me at squatterhunters.com, and I will have a meeting with you and give you some options and figure out what we can do to help. Okay? This was Flash with Outside the Box, Squatter Talk Tuesdays. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Take care now. Bye.